guys, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Started in Seattle. I'm Jessica Puck, and today I'm here with Derek Morton, CEO of FlowPlay, and we are sitting here in their cool new office space right down the street from Pike Place Market on Western Ave. Derek, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, so let's begin with telling the viewers what you guys do here in this awesome place.
Great. Well, we're a team of artisan engineers that build a platform that allows people to engage in virtual worlds on any platform. So you can be in our virtual world on a mobile device, on Facebook, on a web browser, anywhere, and play with thousands of people from all over the world.
Okay, so I see a lot of casino-related things in the office. What is your most, I guess, popular or well-known game?
We have two games. Our World was our first game. It's a game played by teenage girls, mostly between the ages of 11 and 15. So it's about 700,000 teenage girls that log into it every month. And our other game is for middle-aged women. It's called Vegas World.
Okay.
And it's newer, but already growing faster and bigger than Our World.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And where did the idea for FlowPlay come from?
Well, originally my partner and I met it when we were working at Real Networks, and all we knew at that time was we wanted to start a company together.
Okay.
So we spent a year meeting twice a week, trying to figure out what that new business was, and what we were looking at was what was happening in the convergence of payment models that were in Asia, in Korea and China, in terms of virtual currencies and avatars and avatar clothing and stuff that was happening back in 2005 to 2006. There was a lot of activity in virtual currencies, and it hadn't come to the United States, and free-to-play gaming hadn't come to the United States either. And what we saw was that was emerging in Asia, and what was emerging in the West was a lot of free Flash games, a lot of free YouTube content, a lot of content that nobody was able to monetize. So we thought if we combined a virtual currency system with what would normally be free content with a metagame, you'd be able to monetize that content and drive a successful game.
Okay, cool. Well, it looks like it's a pretty good idea so far.
So far, so good. Yeah.
What has your traction been like?
Really good. So we've been around since 2006, late 2006. We became profitable in 2010. Okay. We've been profitable every year since 2010. Traction-wise, we've grown from our launch of our first game in April of 2008 to having two games that each run about probably close to 2 million monthly active users.
Okay. And how have you scaled, or how do you scale your business?
We primarily scale through partnerships. So our biggest partner is Yahoo Games. We have another partnership with a company called MiniClip. MiniClip's a very popular website for kids. That's where our old game is featured. We have a partnership with AOL, with Wild Tangent, which is another local company, with Big Fish Games, another local company. So mostly we work with companies that need games, and they distribute on our behalf, and then we do a rev share with them.
Cool, thank you. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about your background. What experiences have you had in your past that you think have set you up for success here?
Well, all I'm really capable of doing is working on games. So games is all I've ever worked on from a professional point of view. I mean, I went to film school. I have an MBA from UCLA and a film degree from USC. But to combine those two things, really gaming was the natural thing for me to work in. So I've been doing games since the early 90s.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it, and always in casual games, which is a little unusual too, because casual games weren't always looked at as legitimate games. So that's the first thing that kind of I believe set me up to have it start a successful company. The other thing is I've only really worked for startups. The only reason I've ever worked at a big company is because that big company bought my small company. So this is the fourth startup I've been at. It's the first time I've been the CEO and the primary fundraiser for. So I've been at a previous company called Game House. I was the VP of marketing there, and that got bought by Real Networks. I was at a company called Uproar that got bought with Vivendi, one of the world's largest corporations. So series of startups that got purchased, and then I'll sell this one and start another one in several years as well.
Okay, sounds fun. What about the gaming industry? What are the differences that you see between Seattle and the rest of the country, and specifically San Francisco?
Well, San Francisco probably has more game companies, but Seattle's probably a very close number two. We have many game companies here. Wild Tangent, Big Fish Games, Double Down, which just sold for $500 million to IGT. Our company, lots and lots of smaller startups. So in all, I forget the number, but I think in Seattle there are close to 2,000 to 3,000 people that are employed just in gaming alone in the city.
Wow. Okay. Who are your biggest competitors then?
I guess our biggest competitors, when you look at our biggest world game, is certainly Double Down Casino and Big Fish Games. They're Big Fish Casino. They're the two biggest social casinos in the market. But we're gaining on them, and we've got a sort of a differentiated model in that we're multiplayer versus single player.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And what are your plans for the future?
Really, we feel like we're probably 6 months away from really being done with Vegas World. Vegas World we've been building for the past year and a half. And we think in about 6 months we'll really put the cap on all the major features that we've planned for the game. And we'll go off and start our next product. We have a couple ideas, but it's too early to tell which one of those we're going to pick yet.
Okay.
So probably early next year we'll pick our third game and start building a big new product in there.
And with any startup, I'm sure you've had your fair share of challenges. What is one challenge that you'd like to share with our entrepreneurs?
Gosh, there are so many things. I guess the number one thing is that it takes twice as long and twice as much money as you think it might.
Okay.
So whatever you think, however much time you think you need and however much money you think you need, it will take twice that at least to get everything done. So we were established in 2006. It took us 4 years to get to profitability. We had hoped to get to profitability in the second year.
Okay.
And it took us, we raised originally $3 million. We ended up raising $7 million to really get things kicked off. So like I say, it's sort of a rule of thumb that many people bring up is that plan for being twice as long and twice as much money as you think.
And if you weren't doing this, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'm a big fan of mountain climbing and hiking and things. So maybe one of my next things I'll do is start an outdoor company to take people onto adventures into local mountains and around the world.
What are some major trends that you see in the gaming industry right now?
Sure. Well, I think probably everybody's aware that free-to-play gaming is really revolutionizing what's happening in games. So it used to be the model for all games where you'd go to a store and you'd pay $50 for a cartridge that you'd bring home or a CD-ROM or something and put in your machine. So certainly things moved on from those cartridges to digital delivery. So digital delivery was sort of the first move in that. But now what's happening versus paying a fixed price for a product, most successful games and the way things are moving is called free-to-play, which isn't a free game. It's still a game you have to pay for, but what it allows for is a sliding scale for the consumer to spend on the game. So if the consumer wants to spend $2 because they like the game, but they don't want to spend a lot of money on it, they're allowed to spend $2 and still play the game. But if a consumer wants to spend $100, there's still a way in that game to sort of scale up to that spending availability. So it makes it flexible for the consumer, and that they can spend as much money as they want to on the game, depending upon how much they love it. And it also makes it great for the company because they are able to maximize the amount of money they make on the game based upon how many people they can get to play the game and how many people they can get to really love the game and engage in it.
And are you a big gamer?
I really am. I probably play games at least an hour a day, every single day.
What's your favorite game right now?
I'm playing Boom Beach. Boom Beach is a really fun game on iPad.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that. I might have to check that out. What is one free business idea that you're willing to give away to our viewers?
Wow, a free business idea, just like a new concept?
Yeah, or just something fun that you thought of in the past that you just don't have time to pursue or that you've heard.
Boy,
We've had some wacky ones.
That is a tough one. Free business idea. Well, if I was talking to anyone that was going to start a company, I think that the Internet of Things is really going to be a huge potential for new startups.
Okay.
That you've seen what happened with the Nest thermostat, the Nest smoke detector. There's going to be an explosion of these kind of very small, everyday devices that are going to be connected to the internet and become, reinvented. And I think there's a big opportunity for any startup to sort of look at, just the basic things around a household that are ripe for becoming part of the Internet of Things and making a go of that as a startup.
Okay, solving problems. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thanks again for tuning in, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
See you next week.
more?
A little closer. There you go.
I don't bite.
There you go. So you're both even on the side.
Looks good.
Like we're on a date now.